Hello, and welcome to the Andover Political Review International segment. Today's roundtable discussion revolves around the recent Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement. Participating in our discussion will be APR's expert panel, Rohan Sinha, John Swain, Alex Romanis, and Gregory Polker McGee. All right, so we'll start off with our first question. Many prominent politicians, including presidential candidates from both parties, have denounced the TPP agreement because it would make it easier for companies to ship American jobs to countries where labor is cheaper. Is there any evidence for this, or is this sentiment a baseless ploy designed to appeal to the American worker?
So the fact that there's bipartisan efforts to end this agreement or change it is kind of seems like has evidence behind it. So on the left, Bernie Sanders says, and I quote, "I am disappointed but not surprised by the decision to move forward on this disastrous Trans-Pacific Partnership trade agreement that will hurt consumers and cost American jobs." And then on the right, Mitch McConnell says that he has some serious problems with what I think it is, and there's significant pushback all over the place. So from this, we can kind of gather that there is evidence that this will possibly ship American jobs overseas.
Certainly before, when we've seen trade agreements like this, such as the North American Free Trade Agreement, trade agreements in our modern times, pretty large scale, this one constituting countries that make up about 40% of the GDP, of the world GDP. One trade agreement that's comparable to the Trans-Pacific is the North American Free Trade Agreement. During the time, politicians supporting the legislature of NAFTA were saying that jobs would increase or employment would increase, and it turns out plenty of experts have come out on the subject, including such as writers of the Huffington Post have said that 682,000 jobs were lost as a result of the NAFTA agreement. There have been, so this is quite a similar case. Politicians such as John Kerry have come out and said that 685,000 jobs will be created, and that is solely based on the GDP increase, the increase in the U.S. GDP, which is projected by some economists based on classical economics that are planned based off of this GDP increase that American income will grow and on average, and that this will translate to job increase, but that's just false. Countries with lower wages or with lower national wages are where big corporations will go, especially with the abolishing of tariffs between all the countries in the TPP, and that's where big corporations will. Simply, that's
yeah. So this agreement will be pitting the U.S. against other countries in Asia for jobs, and then since these other countries might have not as high standards for work, then the jobs will just go over there, right?
Yeah, there definitely is a threat for the American worker, because we do this at this moment right now. We outsource jobs to other countries, and Southeast Asia is full of cheap labor that we could outsource our countries to,
jobs.
Yeah, we could outsource our jobs, yeah. And that could be disastrous for the American economy, as Bernie Sanders has said, because obviously cheap labor means that the companies will outsource their jobs, and then American workers will lose their jobs, and that could result in an even higher unemployment rate than we have right now, which could end up being disastrous for the USA.
Yes, and isn't this agreement kind of about U.S. versus China kind of relations, right? So we have to see if we can sacrifice our jobs for us being competitive versus China in the future.
I definitely have to disagree with you on that. Although, yes, if you nitpick, there were some manufacturing jobs lost to the North American Free Trade Agreement. However, as a result of NAFTA, it sort of enhanced free trade amongst the North American nations. For example, for the 14-year period after NAFTA was enacted, the U.S. service imports, services that include banking services, telecommunication services, insurance services, the exports from the United States to Canada and Mexico tripled from 27 billion to 92 billion. So, although yes, manufacturing jobs are lost, it sort of opens up the economy and increases the amount of available goods and services. Additionally, the increased trade does create jobs in the sense. Although yes, manufacturing jobs are lost due to outsourcing, the agreement does enhance the economy. And like for example, in the 14-year period after the NAFTA agreement, U.S. GDP shot up 49%, which is a super significant percent. And so currently in 2014, there were 14 million jobs that relied on trade between Mexico and Canada, and approximately 5 million of those were the result of the NAFTA agreement.
That is true. This could be a larger step towards globalization as well, when you think about it, because the more or the better the relationship is between the U.S., Canada, and other countries in Asia per se,
except for
besides
China, right?
Yeah, besides
Right.
China. Well, we already lose enough jobs to China.
We gotta
yeah.
get rid of China.
I know.
Okay.
We already lose enough jobs to China, so this could be the beginning of coalition, against China and to further the American economy.
So then, but it's still, we could be, instead of losing jobs to like China, we might just be losing them to other Asian countries.
That's
Possibly.
true. That is a significant threat.
Going back to Rohan's point, I don't disagree with you, Rohan, that the economy won't do better. When you abolish tariffs, simply prices go down on imported goods, and that allows the American consumer obviously to buy more as prices go down.